Okay, I wanted to make a video talking about just some random cues I use on bench at times. My cues kind of rotate. At this point, my bench is technically proficient enough that a lot of the cues that I worked on originally are just kind of ingrained, and I can focus on other things. But sometimes I have to revisit them when I start getting lazy and doing a poor job with them. And so one of the ones I work on, right? So when I'm lying, pretend I'm lying down, right? I'm on a bench, so I'm gonna get my scaps back and I'm gonna cram them down. Scapular depression, I learned more and more, is just as, if not more important than the retraction part. And you're going to notice that when you go like here and you go down, you're going to give up just a little bit of that retraction to achieve maximal depression, right? If you think about, the range of motion is a circle. Instead of going all the way back, you're going to think about being like down at that like 45-degree angle down here, rather than all the way at the back and giving up some of that depression. So what I think about is when you do that, you're here, you should find that when you're cranking your lats down, your chest will kind of naturally raise. That's what a lot of what the quality arch is it's not as much of a contortion action as people think. It's really good scapular control is a lot of it. So when you crank those down, that chest point is going to raise, right? So that's great. Like when I unrack the bench, like think about it, back, down, really getting this up high, and that's creating the thoracic arch, right? Because lumbar arch doesn't do much for you. It doesn't raise the point you're touching. It just raises your belly. And all that's going to do is going to make the leg drive that you use poorly directed. You can make it go up rather than back, right? And so once I do that, you'll notice that like as you're descending, a lot of people will allow their chest to fade away from the bar. That's giving up tightness. So especially at the bottom, whether you're a sink bench or a soft touch, you want to draw your chest upward as you're coming to right here, rather than allowing yourself to fade away. And that's going to cause me to shrug and go and lose my stacking of my joints, right? So that's the first mistake I really try to avoid, is in that bottom 2 or 3 inches, the negative, allowing yourself to shrug up, allowing your chest to fade away from the bar, and your joints will come unstacked, right? That's the first one. The second one is specifically if you're a sink bencher, you're going to want to allow to accept that bar into your chest while keeping your chest high. So it's going to sink, but the chest stays high, rather than sinking and coming away from it. Same error, just during the pause. When I sink, I want to make sure there's a reasonable amount of force between the bar and my chest. That way my leg drive can be transferred into the bar effectively, and I can use my legs to help me drive that bar backwards by transferring force right here into the bar and driving it back, rather than having to do all of that work with my shoulders, right? So that would be the other one, is losing back tightness during the pause or during the sink. And then the other one is like it's the same cue, just applied to a different part of the bench press, is as you drive it off your chest, a lot of people will give up their position in exchange for some bar speed at the bottom, where they'll press their chest away here. You could think about it as protracting your shoulders, but I also really just like focusing on, did my chest fade away from the bar, or did I just drive the bar while keeping my chest high? And so I find that the best benches I do, I'm really keeping that chest high during the initial press off the chest, and that keeps me in a better position to lock out. A lot of the time, if you protract during that initial off the chest phase, you're going to be in a very, very poor position to lock out. And you might think, oh, I got weak triceps, hammering your triceps. I don't care how strong your triceps are. If you're here, you're not going to lock out very much weight. It was a compromise in position out of the bottom causing the difficulty of lockout. It's just like a deadlift, right? If you've got a really shit lockout, chances are it's not that your locking out muscles are weak, it's that you gave up so much position off the floor for bar speed that you're making the end of the motion extremely difficult. It's no different. So that's why I really focus on driving it off my chest while keeping this high.